and he then turns his attention to like I guess like the commander of the guards or something like that.
Yeah, one of them actually tries to does a legitimate stab at him, but
Yeah,
it's like kind of it's very a drunken stupor stab, and
it,
he's like, it's not a good one.
yeah, no, and I thought now maybe I could be completely off here, and maybe like this is not how they intended it, but I thought what was going on there was Sauron was like trying to mind control him. It wasn't quite working,
But
and
he was somewhat resisting it, but he
he was
still
like,
wasn't good enough.
yeah, like he was trying to get through it, but like something happened, and you're right because it does have like this like staggered aspect to it. And yeah, so then all like yes, this guy comes in, and this is where we get to really see like the moves of Sauron, because like Sauron is able to dodge it, grab the sword, and cut him in a nice little movement there, and yeah, it's pretty scary because then he goes, "You will give me the 9," and then it cuts away, so we don't even know what happens there. Um,
I like I mean, I'm sure he's dead, but he should have he could have like a merry moment when he's dead, but he's still out of the he could kind of stab him in the ankle or something.
I mean, maybe I do think we will see something like that because that is such a good scene. I do think that's gotta like I actually thought that could happen here with this troll here. Uh, so yeah, this troll is now just like rampaging through the battlefield, killing orcs and elves, much like Glug said would happen.
And
Um,
he's using the orcs as
oh
he
yeah,
lifts
yeah.
up some orcs like a
He
shield,
picks
and
up some
he
orcs, and then Glug sees that and is all upset and like walks away and like, oh, stupid Adar. He's like, God damn it! Why is this guy still around in the camps? He's so bad for morale. Anyway, yeah. So the troll like throws some of the dead orcs at Arondir, who's been shooting at him. And meanwhile, actually, this is a really cool shot. Um, it goes from troll up to Arondir, and then the camera swings back down, and we actually like visually. That's hard to do visually. We get a really cool shot of the battlefield, with the relationship of how close Elrond is to this troll. That's like even though we don't see them in each other's scenes, that shot gives us the proximity. Like they're pretty close together. They're about to confront each other, so that's a good shot. Like some of these scenes are pretty cool. It's just this battle doesn't make a ton of sense, and that's where my issue is. But yeah, so I guess Elrond is like trying to dismantle the Ravager, um, and then Arondir's like Elrond or Commander or something like look out because the troll's coming his way, and then like knocks him away from the Ravager. But Elrond had already cut through the rope, and then the thing like spins around and smacks the troll in the.
he gives him a good gut punch.
Yeah, and the
And
troll's not a happy camper about that. He like gets mad at the Ravager and starts like smashing it into
oh,
the.
and he's kind of uses it as a battering ram against
Yeah.
the wall.
Um.
And
Yeah.
then this one Gil-galad shows up, right?
Yes. So this is yeah. So we've got. Well, I guess like the troll does die kind of here. So the troll's fighting this thing. Arondir like so Elrond slashes at him. Gil-galad shows up. Arondir then jumps on the troll or something like that. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, the Gil-galad slashes him. Elrond slashes him, and then Arondir like jumps on him. And I think there's even like there's a weird line like go back to your hill or something like that
Oh yeah.
from Gil-galad. Gil-galad could have had a better line there. Whatever. But yeah, Arondir like jumps onto him, knocks him over, and then everyone just starts to come and like start pummeling this guy. So they bring down this. Now I thought they would have brought more than one troll. I thought the idea was this was
Yeah,
like
why
the.
is there only one? Yeah,
I thought
good
this was the
point.
leader of the trolls. I was expecting a whole group of trolls.
Right, and this is kind of this is another problem. I'm going way back to the episode at the beginning of the episode because I'm just thinking of it now. But all these siege engines are just being moved by orcs.
Yep.
But remember in Return of the King, it's the trolls that are moving all the siege equipment.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I
No.
mean,
That's
this guy.
That's what I thought the whole, like, I thought it was
Are
actually
orcs strong enough to do that?
right. So I thought no, and my whole my
Because these are big.
I
These are
know
big.
these are huge. Like they're massive.
You
Like
can't just
catapults.
move them. Yeah,
Well,
maybe you
one
could rotate them a little bit,
yeah. So
but
one thing that like a lot of these like fantasy and history shows get wrong is like the scale of some. Like obviously some trebuchets are massive, but they're not all like that. So like you can have varying sizes, and like catapults aren't all these massive machines. Like they can be quite small. So these are huge. These like are the same height as the trees around them. So like they're like they're building them out of like the entire tree itself. So these are massive machines, and I thought the whole point was we were talking to the trolls to help us, but instead we talked to one troll and he joined us. Like I don't know. I thought there should have been trolls moving these machines, or the other option is because trebuchets you don't actually move them. Just build them in the spot. They don't have wheels, so I thought they would just build them there. Because trebuchets shoot further than the catapults and stuff from the towers. Uh, so I thought that's what would happen, but you're right. Like it's weird that I thought we needed the trolls to move these things, or some other animal to move these things. Um, so day breaks, so it's now morning. Morning happens,
right.
and
The orcs aren't bothered by it.
the orcs aren't bothered by it, which is something that was a huge plot point in season one. This is a big mistake. This is actually my least favorite mistake because it's so egregious. It's a plot point in every single Lord of the Rings movie or show. Is this idea that orcs can't move in light? They are the embodiment of the darkness that Celebrimbor was just talking about in a speech just not too many scenes ago. Um, so yeah, then the elf that Elrond sent to get the dwarves shows up. He's like dying because he's got all these arrows in him, and he says that Durin is not coming. And Elrond can't believe it because his friend gave him his word. Um, again, now you can have these scenes. These scenes happen in the original trilogy to some degree or another. They are never as egregious as this. There is a battle happening, and now Elrond, Gil-galad, and a company of elves are just gathered around this one elf dying, talking about dwarves. That that so look how like we should break this down at some point because the way Peter Jackson does it is brilliant. He makes it he has it make sense where oh we are in Helm's Deep for example. They once they retreat from the outer ramparts and they go inside, you can have that reprieve where you talk a little bit. Then you go back out there, fight, come back, and you can talk, and it makes sense. There's no immediate danger. They're in the middle of the battlefield right here, and they're just talking. It takes me out of it. Like they're all just standing around. There's a battle happening. I'm just orcs are literally. We cut from that scene of them standing around to these orcs like approaching them with Adar in the lead.
Yeah, Ador's leading the charge here. You know.
So like there's a battle happening still. I don't know why we're standing around doing nothing. We could at least try to get behind the walls or something. Because there's ladders and stuff still set up. I can see it in the background of the scene. They didn't even remove the ladders, so that like that's not even a possibility. So now they're gonna form up ranks, and Elrond is like, Durin will come, I know it. Like he believes in his friend. And we finally get to see Gil-galad like, okay, Elrond, you've lost it. You're no longer the commander. I'm taking command here. And we get Adar yelling in black speech, like kill them or something like that. And then the elves are yelling attack, and then there's like hardly any elves left. Like they're all dead. There's like 10 elves in this.
In front of the wall, yeah. There's not many left. Yeah.
That's not enough. Like they need to get behind the wall. They need to climb these ladders and go on the top of the wall.
At this point, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, in this shot, I'm looking at it right now. The bridge is out. So all of our plans where we were like, oh, maybe someone could take the bridge, that's out. The bridge got bombed or something like that, and it's collapsed. So there is no longer a way to actually enter the city at the proper height of the door.
Except for Galadriel's secret way.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Except for the secret dwarven tunnels that no one knows about. But if you were to try to use the actual exit of the city like a normal person, that door leads to nothing. It's just a pit. So you have to either take the ladders up or the secret entrance. That's the only ways in or out of the city right now. Not sure if that's going to become important in the next episode. I just want to point that out that they legit show that shot while this fight's happening. And this fight's kind of good. It's kind of chaotic. Again, it's weird that it's happening in the way it's happening, but visually, well done. This is where Arondir sees Adar and is gonna like go for him. So he starts cutting down orcs, and like he actually has some good moves in this fight. He like dodges an arrow, spins across another one, and like slashes an orc. It's pretty good. And then he does actually shoot. This is actually a really good choreographed fight here, and it's not too long. It kind of subverts expectations. I know that's a negative word here, and in this case, it kind of worked for me. I wish it was a bit longer, but maybe that's the whole point of subverting it. So Arondir goes to shoot at Adar, but an orc is fighting him and knocks the arrow away just enough that it misses Adar. So then Arondir has to kill that orc, and in doing so, leaves himself open for Adar to just come up and kill him. So that it's well done in that way, because it's not like, oh, some guy's winning and then now he's losing, that kind of thing. It's he almost got Adar, and by the fact that he rushed it, instead of killing the orc in front of him and then shooting Adar, he goes right for Adar, and the orc in front of him hits his arm, and that causes him to then have to deal with this orc while Adar can rush up and get him as well. So I actually kind of like this fight scene. I do miss Arondir. Like I thought he had more to do. I know he was kind of a nobody else.
I know. It seems like this season they didn't really know what to do with Arondir.
Yeah, like he was supposed to have a lot more to do with the humans, but because
there was supposed to be a love thing.
But I thought him and Theo would have a big storyline. Like I didn't realize that they
could have done that, yeah, but they didn't.
Yeah, so instead of giving him like a fatherly duty to Theo, they just said, let's send him up to Eregion and have him fight. So the elves are losing this fight, by the way. They're just getting absolutely dominated now. There's too many orcs. I still don't know how that's true or how that's possible. Where are all the elves? Eregion's not been captured yet. Are there any elves left in there? There should be. They haven't been. The town, the city is still, for the most part, standing. All those elves should be up on the walls still raining arrows down. They're not. They're all gone. And then we get this weird scene where... Okay. So, everything's falling apart. Elves are dying left, right, and center. Elrond is on the ground, sees a bunch of elves die, and then Adar approaches him. And Elrond, with the dagger that Galadriel gave him or something...
Right, the wall comes down too. Did the Ravager do it? I don't recall.
Oh, that was the troll kind of did it right there, right before he died or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So you're right. The wall does come down, but still, there should be elves. If there's actually a fight happening, there should be elves pouring out of that city to help fight. They're not. I don't know what's going on. Everything is just weird about how this fight happens. But Elrond is now coming face to face with Adar, and he goes to stab Adar. And Adar is too quick. He grabs his hand and then out-muscles him, which we've already discussed that Elrond's not a great warrior yet, but the fact that Adar's out-muscling him. Now, we know Adar's like also kind of an elf, right? Like he was an elf.
He must be pretty formidable.
Yeah.
That would be my assumption. Yeah.
Because like Elrond like was hacking through these orcs like they're
Because he just 1v1'd Arondir, and now he's 1v1ing Elrond.
And he even picks him up.
He's capable.
Yeah, and he even picks him up like an old like choke slam from like the Undertaker or something like that. And he's like holding up in the air, and Elrond's like struggling. And there's a line here: "Never make war in anger." I don't know. I honestly can't even figure out what that is from. It's
I
from
think
something,
it's Sun Tzu.
but okay, sure. But it's also from other movies. But my question is like, what's he even talking about in this context? You guys are attacking a Region. What? It's not Elrond making war.
Yeah.
It's it's him defending his people. It doesn't make sense. It's just a random line that they heard one time, thought was cool, and wanted them to say it.
Let's put it here.
Yeah, like he's picked up Elrond. He needs to say he needs a good one-liner. How about never make war in anger, and then he grabs the ring. Like what? What? Why not say something like I told you we were better and stronger or something like that, or like I don't know, like I don't know, something that makes sense in the context. But so Adar has the ring now,
And the
and
crown,
and the
and the orcs
crown,
are entering, and the orcs are entering the city.
and the
So,
orcs are entering the city.
so he
Um,
should be able to, if his theories right, he
yeah,
might be able to do this.
yeah, he might be able to complete his mission. The dwarves are so all right. So that's the end of the episode. Now, I the reason I kind of like this episode is I said from the very beginning that I want Elrond to start to have a hatred of dwarves, because in the original trilogy and The Hobbit there is an undertone that I don't know if it was Peter Jackson or the actor put on, but it made me think that they don't like the dwarves. Like, not just like an elf versus dwarf thing, like, I don't like dwarves. They've betrayed me for the last time. And I said we need to see that start to develop here, because that happens. Elrond is like that. And now we're starting to see it unfold, where this moment was a crucial moment, and the dwarves couldn't get their shit together internally to be able to help the elves after a promise was made by his close friend. And so he will feel a betrayal that potentially lasts forever from these dwarves. No matter what dwarf he sees now, he doesn't seem to trust them to fulfill what they say they will do. He always has this in the back of his mind, and now we're starting to see where that might have come from, which I think is pretty cool. But all in all, like the battle, there were some really good shots. I struggled with the style of of what era are we in the Middle Ages? Like we've got like these weird siege engines. We've got some weird strategies. Um, we've got orcs that are in the campsite not fighting while they're actually like charging the wall. Like that's normally you'd send all your guys in that moment when you're actually trying to breach the wall. You wouldn't just like sit back and send a few of them at a time to get mowed down by arrow. There's just a bunch of weird stuff that wasn't thought through. But the storytelling from the Celebrimbor perspective, I thought was pretty good. So, well, I think that's why I do think it's the best episode potentially, but because of Celebrimbor, not because of the battle. Whereas I think a lot of people are just excited to see decent live action battle on screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of where I stand. I mean, I don't know how they wrap up this season cleanly. Like, it almost seems like this Eregion mess stretches into next season. Because are we really expecting Adar and Sauron to like fight each other to the death next episode, and then like that's it? There's no more.
I mean, I saw a little bit of the flash forward for
Oh.
the preview.
Yep.
I don't remember it entirely, but we do see Sauron confront Galadriel.
Oh.
So he must get the 9 back. He must go to Galadriel and get the 9 from her.
Damn it.
Maybe Celebrimbor ends up telling.
Oh yeah,
Sauron
that'd be
that
good. Even
Galadriel has it.
in the moment where we need him to be the strongest, he eventually does crumble and reveal the secret tunnel. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. It'd be really sad though, because like the character's trying to redeem themselves, and they don't quite make it. And
Yeah.
unlike Boromir, who does make it in my eyes, where he recognizes the error of his ways and sacrifices himself for two nothing hobbits, um, in an attempt to like make amends for the fact that he was corrupted in that moment. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the end of Celebrimbor, because like I said, that's the biggest. They straight up like Jamie Lannistered this on me. It went from the hated character, but Jamie was because I hated like he was evil. This is I hated him because he sucked and he was stupid, and now he's such a good character to study, just like Jamie Lannister is. So like they completely switched that on me, and I think that's pretty cool. And a lot better writing so far this season and this episode. Some cheesy moments, sure, and some weird uses of lines from previous Lord of the Rings movies and other stuff. But for the most part, it's actually becoming more consistent. And that's all I really cared about. It doesn't all have to be like the speeches that are at the start of our videos. They don't have to all be that good. But if you can just get the consistency where it's not like I'm not groaning all the time, or I'm not like rolling my eyes or saying like, "Oh, I know where that's from. That's from this. That's this." Like you can hint at it, but don't just like have these weird moments. And they've gotten away from that for the most part. They throw it in there from time to time, and they're getting better though. So that's where I stand on this one. Yeah, I guess so. You thought this one was pretty good. So do you think it is the best episode, or I mean, the
This
story?
season or
I guess of the
overall
whole
even.
show. Now,
I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite. I'm not sure.
yeah, like because for me, the problem with saying that this is the best episode is this does have the least story development in terms of like long term, like all of this is just we're now seeing the effects of the setup that have already been established, and so we're not really like we get Celebrimbor, and that's why
I would say I think it is the most exciting, even taking the battle out, seeing like Celebrimbor have his moment.
yeah, and that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Is that I think this is the best episode that shows a character that is starting to become interesting to watch, struggle through and deal with a serious issue in a way that is compelling. I think that's what makes this episode the best for me. And the fun thing is they did that with only like half the episode or less, because there's a lot of episode dedicated to the battle. There's a lot of episode dedicated to the Galadriel bit and the dwarves and like Elrond and all this stuff. So the fact that they were able in like a third of this episode to give us a really compelling Celebrimbor story, that shows that there is something there for them to build on, and they just gotta tap into that more consistently. Because like the dwarves were rushed, they had a lot that they could have done there, and they needed to rush the dwarves to get them to a point where they had to make a choice between elves and themselves, and they choose themselves. Dwarves are selfish; they care nothing for the troubles of others.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, all in all, I think this was a pretty good episode. I would recommend it. Also, from just like a decent battle perspective in terms of visuals, not in terms of strategy. It's no long night, mind you. That makes no goddamn sense. This at least like you can see kind of what they're going for. They just still don't. They don't execute properly.
And how do we get around the daylight?
Oh, the daylight thing. I'm like I can't believe that's not like the number one story. To me, that is the most egregious problem that this episode brought, and there is no explanation that I can think of. Like, so here's what they could have done.
Because even just the elves seeing the daylight coming over the hill, I thought like, well, there's the relief. There's
Yeah,
daylight.
that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, the episode's gonna end, and then it's like more battle in the middle of the daylight. I'm so confused. So
Actually, this is when it could have come to a head where they just. Well, I mean, this would be kind of stupid too, but this is where it could have come to a head where Adar gives up and he's like, here, take the crown. You kill him. And then he and the orcs just go back to Mordor or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I mean, I think the way you could
Or
get around.
Glug, or you could have Glug give Elrond the crown.
Oh,
Or
you
something.
could. Yeah, yeah. Okay, you could do that. I was thinking more like, how do I get, like, what if we caused an avalanche that like sent up soot into the air or something
How
like
to
that?
make it so I don't know, like have Mordor, some Mount Doom smoke reach that far. I don't
Yeah,
know
like that. Like that's the
how.
only thing you can really do, and it doesn't quite make sense. So, yeah, that they really bungle the nighttime stuff because they actually have an excuse to have battles at night here. Most of the time,
Yeah.
when battles are at night, it's because they want to save money on CGI. Here, they have an excuse because orcs only operate at night. And what were the orcs doing? Having weird, like, little cremation ceremonies instead of fighting. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just so confused. Like, rest in the day, fight at night. That's what orcs do. Yeah, it's very confusing to me. Um, I'm wondering if they do try to explain that, and like they've, but see, it wouldn't make sense, and it would really blow up in their face if they said, "Oh, Adar found some way to like, you know, allow
He
them."
he created sunscreen or something. I
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
basically created Urukai that could walk in the daylight. So yeah, they've got a problem on their hands with that one. And I'm not like I to me is the biggest problem. Because they already have established in the show, not even going to other Lord of the Rings stuff. In the show, they made a big deal about that in the first season. We had a whole thing where like they would only be there at nighttime, and so and Arondir was even saved by the daylight once. Remember, he's running out of the forest into this field, and then the
Yes.
daylight comes. So like it's already been established daylight is safety, and so when they had the similar scene right there, I thought, oh, like that's the end. Like the daylight has saved them for one more night, and then the orcs just keep coming. So now all bets are off. Um, yeah, that's I'm surprised we're not seeing like an entire YouTube videos dedicated to that. Maybe we will. Maybe we are. I'm just not seeing them. But that to me is my biggest problem with this episode. And yeah, I guess on that note, let us know down below what you guys thought. Was this your favorite episode despite some of the issues? Or do you prefer another episode that has a bit more of the plots and story and doesn't have as much action? Let us know down below. We look forward to it.